Hey everybody, Motorboard59 here. It is really getting impossible to keep up with all the silliness of the Biden administration, from Joe Biden himself to the idiot Kamala Harris, Psaki, everyone involved in this administration. It's impossible. If I were to actually comment just briefly on everything that goes on that they say, it's all I would ever do. I would never have time for anything else. And I'm not being trying to be humorous. I am a subscriber to the Fox News YouTube channel, where it's all just clips. And every day on that YouTube channel, there are hours worth of these clips because they have the resources to keep track of this. I don't. I don't have the... I guess I could use them as a resource, but I don't have that kind of time, and I don't want to spend my time talking about them because I would just be depressed all the time. The latest thing that I just heard a few hours ago was that Congress is kicking around a $300 a month stipend to help them cover the cost of gas. Hey, how about getting the price of gas down and the price of oil down by domestic exploration, recovery, and production? We have the means to do that, but the Democrats aren't going to allow that to happen. They're going to continue to make these people believe, these ignorant, liberal, rank-and-file voters, believe that we have to have this oil and gas from somewhere else. And for that reason, we'll have to pay for it. And that is why the market speculation is, I've made videos about this before, the speculation is what is driving these oil prices, and it's global speculation. It's not just here in America. And if we were to become oil independent, if we didn't depend on imports for our oil, the speculation would die out. We would have speculation in the American markets that would help these drilling and exploration companies, and gas. And you can just bet gas is never, ever going to be as cheap as it should be. I come from an oil family. There is no reason that the average national price per gallon of regular unleaded gas should be any more than $2.25 a gallon. And it will never even come close to approaching that again. Remember in 2008, gas was $1.50 a gallon, and all of a sudden it jumped up to $4 a gallon, and then, oh, we're going to rescue you, and the price went back down. But what did it go back down to? $2.50 a gallon. Just like that, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gasoline went up $1 at the pump. It didn't go up $1 at the refineries. And that's another thing. People always talk about, oh, big oil, big oil. Yeah, they're making a lot of money right now. They've made a lot of money for a long time. But the profit margins for big oil companies, and I've said this before, are smaller today than they were 100 years ago. Their costs go up too, and that's just the way things are. But once gasoline leaves a refinery, big oil is pretty much out of the picture. They really don't have a lot to do with the price of gas at the pump. That is distributors, the people who sell it, the whole marketing, the whole 9 yards. You know, so I just saw somebody said that some watchdog group is going to sue the state of California or oil companies or something because they're charging up to $2 a gallon for gasoline more than they should be. I don't know if that's true. I couldn't find anything about it that had any reliable sources. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It doesn't make any difference. But when distributors do that, that has nothing to do with the oil company. The oil company they're not involved in that. If a person who owns a franchise gas station, whether it's a Chevron or an AM/PM, if they decide to jack the price up $2 a gallon, that's on them. The oil companies don't do that. That's not their deal. As I said, once it leaves the refinery, they're pretty much out of the picture. Back to the point of increasing domestic production. They're not going to allow that to happen. This is all part of the left's green agenda. This is how they are going to try to force people to buy electric vehicles. Even as Elon Musk says, hey, we need to start more domestic production now, because even Elon Musk, the genius of Tesla, understands that you can't change to electric vehicles overnight. There's no infrastructure. It lacks almost everything, and they just can't build that many electric vehicles. Look at the issues Rivian is having right now because they can't ramp up their production quickly enough to meet the demand for these cars. And I've said before, I don't have a problem with electric vehicles, but they're not going to answer the transportation needs of America or anything. They're not going to make that big a difference. But the Democrats, the liberals, the government does not want you to know that. I just can't, I'm sorry, I get sidetracked. I can't keep up with the silliness of this administration. I posted the video the other night about hashtag Putin price hikes. People are so focused on gas prices right now, they're forgetting that everything else is getting very expensive. Inflation, I said something about this too. Biden and Harris and Psaki all saying that that inflation wasn't going to have a serious effect on the average consumer. I don't know how somebody can look at the American people and say something like that with a straight face. And I really don't know how any consuming American, especially blue collar and down lower than that in the economic chain, would believe for 1 second that inflation isn't going to affect our way of life. Every time Biden opens his mouth, every time Harris, every time anyone in this administration, and not just the administration, every time I hear a Democrat say anything, what is that idiot Buttigieg saying, well, if you don't like the price of gas, buy an EV. Oh, that really helps the family who's driving a 10-year-old minivan that's beat up because they can't afford to do anything else. Now they're having to buy all this gas, and what's he telling them? Go out and buy a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 EV that you may not be able to get to a charging station, whatever. There may not be the infrastructure. You don't have the money. You don't have the credit to buy a new car. It's spooky. It's scary that people are listening to them. Democrats, as I've said time and again, don't care about the blacks. They don't care about the Hispanics. They don't care about the gays. They don't care about the poor. They don't care about anything. They don't care about anyone. All they're going to do is like they're doing right now with this $300 a month stipend they're kicking around. They're buying votes. They're trying to placate their uninformed voting base with bribes. That's all they're doing. They're bribing stupid people. And it's not going to get better anytime soon. I think I've said in a couple of my other videos, my buddy and I, who we have coffee at least once a week in the mornings, and and he said, we're done. We're done. There's no way that we're going to survive all this. This country's not. It's done. I tend to be a little more optimistic than he is, and I would like to think that he's mistaken, that there is a chance, and hopefully there is, but it's not going to change anytime soon. And if things don't change as far as who's making decisions and who's voting for these people making decisions and what kind of decisions they're making, maybe we are done. Maybe we are. As far as America as we know it, it'll just become a dictatorship. This is their path to socialism. I said that in another video. Take the money away from the people. Take all their money away. Leave them with no money to have possessions of any sort, and ruin the economy, ruin credit, ruin banking, and then the government swoops in and takes over and starts making decisions without having to pass laws to do it. That is where we are headed if things don't change. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorpoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all later.